Hey everybody, this is Sue Craig. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from the United States. Today I'm going to show you how to make this darling little card with the little pig with the mask. This was originally done by a gal named Lori Healing is her name. And she did this with the pig. She did a little different variation of this. And I wanted to show you how to do this, my version of it, and then I'll show you some other cards that I made little masks on that are part of some of the Stampin' Up! Sets you might have. Okay, we're going to be using this little piggy to make the little pig, and we're also going to use the stamp set Enjoy Life. We're going to use When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. So we're going to be using this sentiment for the inside, which I think is appropriate for what's going on today. Things you're going to need: a scrap piece of paper with just the head of the pig. You're going to need a piece of white cardstock, which is 2 inches by 3 inches. Behind that is Balmy Blue, which is 2 1/4 by 3 1/4. You're going to have a piece of DSP. This is Bird Ballad. This is 5 1/2 by 2 inches, and then we're going to put one off to the side. This is a 1/2 inch by 5 1/2 inches. That'll decorate our inside. We have our inside piece of cardstock, which is 5 1/4 by 4, and then we're going to have our petal pink background. And what I did was I scored it on my scoreboard with the half marked at 4 1/4, and then at 2 1/8 I scored again. This is going to give us a different kind of fold. An easy way to remember this is you can fold it in half. Once it's folded in half, then just fold it back on itself. Interesting. All right, there we go. So let's get started with our pig and our coloring. I'm going to be using black Memento ink so that I can use the alcohol markers. We're going to stamp this little piggy right about in the middle here. We're going to be coloring this little guy, and I'm going to be using Pink Pirouette and Early Espresso. Now, I don't have all the Stampin' blends because I was using Copic markers way before we had the blends, so many of my markers are Copic markers. So I'm going to color this even though we're not going to see it. You may see some of the edges when it's popped up, but I start with just coloring with the lightest color first. Don't forget his tail. And then what I'll do is I'll add a little bit of shading to this. It's going to give it a little bit of dimension, but we don't want to go crazy with it, so we're going to put some dark marker on the things that are near the bottom, down here, where you wouldn't see. And if you wanted to do a little bit here, you could. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take your light marker again, and now you're just going to brush over the dark marker so that it combines together. We're kind of pushing this dark marker out away from the edge of the pig. What we want is to see them blend, and you don't want to see that hard line that was made from drawing the line on the pig. And you can play around with this until you have it the way you like it. So we're going to do the pig that we're going to see, the cutout here. We're going to color it first and then we'll cut it out. Usually I color in circles so that I'm sure that things are covered. And of course there won't be any streaks because it's an alcohol marker. On this little guy, I'm going to color the inside of his ear, just so you can see it a little better, and the end of his nose. We're going to do a little bit here under his chin. And again, we're going to blend this. So that we can see there's a color difference in them. Alright, I've cut out the head of the little piggy, and now we're going to finish up with the bottom part. I did go ahead and add some old olive for the little grass there. And now I have the color like early espresso. And what I'm going to do is color in a little bit of this area here. It's going to look like this little guy's in the mud. And again, I'm just doing circles. If you wanted to put some mud on the piggy, you could. The last thing I'm going to do for coloring is to add color to his feet. Just using a Stampin' Up marker to do his feet. Alright, the coloring is done. So let's go ahead and mask this little piggy. To mask the little piggy, what I want to do is take my teeny tiny piece here, and this is about 3/8 of an inch by 5/8 of an inch. And what I want to do is I want to score this, and I'm just using a regular scoring tool, and you can just draw lines across it. If you want to use your scoring blade on your cutter, that's fine too. Okay, so now I have the little lines in this, and I'm going to turn this over and put a little bit of adhesive on it. And then I'm going to take these 3-inch pieces of white baker's twine, and I'm going to make an X. Okay, now I have the little mask, and I'm going to put adhesive on the back of the little piggy. So what we're going to do is line this up under his eyes, wrap the first piece of string up by his ear, second one there as well. Okay, now the bottom ones, I kind of wrap them a little bit off to the side like that so you can see that there is a second part of the mask, second line to it. Okay, tighten this a little more. Now on the back we're going to put a dimensional, one large dimensional, and then I'm going to put a small dimensional on each ear so that this will really stand up. Okay, our little piggy is finished. Whoa. He's finished. and he can't see. I think I need to put something down there because my pig's mask is covering his eyes. Maybe he doesn't like what he sees. So I'm just going to put a little glue dot down there. And we'll just pull his mask down. There we go. All right. We're going to take our little piggy now and stamp our sentiment for the front. Which is this little piggy. And then we're going to add Stayed Home. And this was printed from Lori's blog, and I'll make sure that there's a link so you know where to find that information. Okay, we're going to put it on a piece of soft suede that's 1/2 by 1.5 inches. And I'm going to put 2 small dimensionals on the back of this. So that it'll look like it's part of the mud. And I like to put things a little bit off center, drives some of the ladies crazy, but that's what we have. Now we're going to attach this piece to the balmy blue piece before we add the pig face to it. Okay, now we'll take the backings off the dimensionals and line the pig head up to the head that's already there on the card. And that's the reason we popped it up a little bit, so that we could wrap the twine around the back. You could just put the white piece of paper on there without the twine if you want. You'll see I did that on some of the other cards. All right, we're going to take our white piece for the stamping of the inside. Stamp our sentiment. All right, while that's drying, we're going to take our card base now with our designer series paper. I'm going to take the larger piece first and put adhesive on it, and then we're going to turn this sideways. I always find it easier to line things up when I turn things sideways. This is going to go end to end. It's 5.5 inches, so I put it down like that. And this is how it's going to end up folding. We'll take our white piece now for the center. When I center things like this, I like to hold opposite corners so that I can look and move to make it look even. Again, I'm going to turn this sideways, and I'm going to add adhesive to the back of this narrow strip of designer series paper. And I'm going to line it up with the bottom of the card, but right on the edge of the white. So now we have this. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to put this little piggy on the card, and I want very little white showing over here, and I want to see the designer series paper. So I'm going to turn this over, and I'm going to put adhesive just down the side here. I'm going to take this piece and line it up here to to where I like it, and I'm going to push down. Okay, I'm going to double check that I don't have adhesive on the back, and there you go, we have our Little Piggy card finished. I want to show you some of the other cards that I did, but instead of paper I used paper towels. Using the set back on your feet, I did some paper piecing with this little guy, and then he's wearing a mask, and you can see it's not with the baker's twine. The next one is from the Fable Friends. They've got their little masks on. The Gangs Almere, they've got their masks on. Nature's Beauty. These are all going to be going to people who are inside. This is the last one, and this is from Special Someone. I just love this little raccoon. It says this little guy stayed home. Well, that's it for me, and I hope you enjoyed the card. Take care.